Let's talk about being stuck in a permanent child syndrome because of emotional incest. If you weren't helped with healthy development while you were growing up, going through normal developmental stages, then you're going to have these unresolved childhood issues. You continue getting older now into your 20s or 30s and you feel like a kid trapped in an adult body. So I know even for myself as an adult and even as a licensed therapist, I still quite often feel inside like I'm the little kid. Who do I think I am? And it's because my training was such that because I was infantilized, I never knew what growing up was all about, also known as the Peter Pan syndrome to some degree. But you can't really tell, right? Because like myself, people may have careers, be quite settled in their lives. They appear on the outside to be very established, which therefore must mean that they're very emotionally mature and must think of themselves in some powerful way. So on the outside looking in, it may appear like that, but to the person who's a victim of emotional incest, they may feel quite different inside. So we can just say this is appearance versus reality. It can also lead to feelings that we may describe as the imposter syndrome. I'm being told I'm great. I'm being told that I'm well trained in my field. I'm being told I'm a great mentor, a leader, an engaged citizen out there, but inside I feel like a little kid. So despite being an adult age, your thought patterns, your behaviors are that of a young one. You're reliving your childhood trauma. You were never supposed to grow up, never have your own strong voice, never disagree with your parents, always go along with and walking on eggshells. So if that was your beginning, that will naturally carry itself into adult life. You want to make it more real for yourself if this is an issue you're dealing with in your life, because otherwise you may find that you're not advocating for yourself. You lose your voice. You keep your opinions in, your real thoughts, your feelings. You're not being authentic. You're going along with when you don't want to necessarily go along with. So then you may pay a big price in terms of your self-esteem. You may hate yourself. Where did my voice go? Which then may cause shame. And if we go further with this, the self-hatred, the shame may lead to a person wanting to numb their feelings through drinking, through drugs, so on. So it's a spiral effect. That's why we have to get in touch with our feelings and really know ourselves. Otherwise, it may spider out into all sort of symptoms in our adult life. You are now reparenting yourself as an adult, given that you weren't properly parented in the first place. And because of this, especially if you're in stressful situations, for example, conflict resolution, arguments with your family or friends, having to give meetings, talk to coworkers, your boss at work, under these situations, you may resort to those old childhood ways of reacting, which is not going to be helpful in your adult life. You're going to default automatically to childhood coping mechanisms, which may be similar to a 10-year-old. You're passive aggressive. You want to collect all your toys and just go home. You're going to go pout. You may want to just tell somebody off. You may carry a grudge. You may act like the victim. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. That's how an 8-year-old or 10-year-old or 12-year-old may act. Well, you're doing that now as an adult, and you don't want to keep doing that. So if you don't confront this, you may run away from conflict resolution, which is then not going to help you in a marriage, right? A big chunk about learning to have a healthy relationship or marriage means we're going to have to communicate our feelings, work out compromise, work out conflicts. We're going to have to do that at work if we want to keep our job. And like a kid, you may decide things very impulsively. You may have a side to you that wants immediate gratification. That's like a little kid, right? Versus knowing to pace oneself, doing things now that may help us down the road in the future, putting things off a bit that are in our best interest to put off. So you can't really do this easily because you weren't trained, you weren't helped with this growing up. It's not your fault, it's just you were raised as a kid to be in that role. You were talked down to in a way. You had to just go along with the flow, be the good little boy or girl the way your parents wanted you to be. Well, the thing with being the good little boy or girl is it's going to likely keep us relating to life as a small person, as a little boy or little girl. You have to recognize that you have a self-image of yourself that doesn't fit in with who you are as a 45-year-old woman or a 52-year-old man. And so another offshoot to be aware of is this may linger into continual self-doubt with yourself as an adult. You always doubt yourself. You're never sure. You want to check with others. Well, now the checking with others means that you're going to perhaps rely on others for guidance that you have in your heart and soul, but you weren't helped to find your heart and soul when you were young. So how do you know to do that as an adult? How can you trust yourself? So this also connects to trusting ourselves, getting to know our gut feeling, our intuition, knowing we have all the answers in here. But if we're 32 and still feeling like we're 5, then we're not going to understand or believe we have the answers in here. We need others to guide us, which in turn keeps you small, right? Like a little kid, you're giving away your power. And just like a little kid doesn't like hearing criticism, they may take it very personally. I hate you for saying that. When actually criticism, healthy criticism, can be quite constructive and positive in our life. We need to be able to hear different points of view. People aren't necessarily being critical. They just have different viewpoints, different outlooks, and we all need to hear that from others. But as a little boy or girl, you may get very defensive about all this and blow up or get mad if somebody counters what you are thinking, what you're hoping for. Just like a kid at the sandbox. Now, all of this is a little bit different from any of us, no matter what age, when we still go to visit our family, let's say at the holidays. We still can go home and still feel like the little boy or girl when we're around our parents. So some of these childhood dynamics may still play out, and there's nothing wrong with that. Now, of course, we don't want to bow to these feelings, but if you're having these feelings, it's nothing to really worry about. These ancient feelings, so to speak, just pop up sometimes, especially if we're only seeing our family once or twice a year, let's say. So this video is more about a persistent dynamic that goes on and on throughout your whole life, that shows itself in your primary relationships with your friends, with coworkers, and so on. Basically, where we were taken over by the parent, thwarted of our own identity development, infantilized, but bottom line is we begin to feel like we're always a little boy or girl because nobody helped us become a full-fledged adult. We weren't raised in a way to find our wings and grow up in a healthy way. So have you always felt like an adult child in your life? If so, we'd all love to hear about it in the comments section below. Please subscribe to my mental health YouTube channel if you like these kind of videos. And until next week, this is Brad Shore signing off from Ask a Shrink.